Am I the a-hole stories? Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I might not pay for my little sister's college? I, 19 female, and my mom, have always had rocky relationship. I am the scapegoat of the family and my little sister, 12 female, is the golden child. Around the time when I was 17, I was prepping for going to college. My mom asked me in the future, am I going to pay for my little sister's college? Being 17-year-old me and even still now, I don't know if I'll have money to pay for my little sister's college, so I told my mom I don't know, and that if I did have money, I would help my little sister with her tuition if she had good grades. She didn't think the answer was good enough, and believed my answer should have been an unconditional yes. Because I didn't answer yes, my mom decided to pull my college fund, and I've been paying my tuition by myself this whole time. I'm currently a sophomore in college and it's been rough. However, I feel as if I was being a bad older sister. My mom still blames me for not wanting to help my little sister. I do want to help her, but it depends on her grades in school. It's gotten really hard to keep up with school and paying tuition, so I recently had to transfer from a good university to a cheaper community college that might not have a good recognition for my future jobs. My little sister is doing alright in school, since she gets special help with her individualized education program. She had a mild speech problem but that was in kindergarten, but she really just doesn't want to do schoolwork or try in school. I have just been feeling really bad, because now, I really don't know if I can ever help her with college because I'm in so much debt. Now for the top comments. The hell? Why on earth would it be your responsibility to pay for your sister? Not the a-hole, your parents suck. This is not your responsibility, and don't let your parents gaslight you into thinking it is. If this is how they're going to treat you, you need to focus on taking care of yourself. I'm sorry this has been put on you. I really can't believe her mother pulled out her college, leaving her completely alone with that big debt, all because she didn't have the right answer to her question. They didn't even intervene when because of that, she had to downgrade colleges? All for a little entitled brat of a little sister who won't even try in school? And then they make OP feel guilty about this? I'm not usually this opinionated about am I the a-hole posts, but seriously? Lol what? Your mother sounds toxic. Paying for a sibling's college tuition is far above and beyond normal sibling duties. Not the a-hole. Be right back, calling my older brother right now. It's honestly such a relief to get these student loans off my back. Not the a-hole, in what universe is it your responsibility to pay for your sister's college? I am constantly amazed by this assumption that older siblings should pay anything family related. I can only assume this is some cultural thing I cannot understand. We get so many of these types of situations in Am I the a-hole? To me, if someone has kids, they are responsible for raising/funding those kids. No one else is, especially not the other kids they had. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she was toxic, right after she had gotten broken up with? My twin sister and I are both 17, and attend the same boarding school. About 3 months ago, she started dating one of the guys on my soccer team. He's a cool guy. Really solid person. My sister was a horrible girlfriend. She'd play those stupid mind games with him, the ones that toxic people do. Do you think X is prettier than me? You can tell me if you think she's pretty, I won't get mad. Then immediately gets mad. She'd make plans with him, and then if she forgot or was late, she'd flip it around and get mad at him, and tell him he got the time or place wrong. She expected him to get her gifts for every one of their month anniversaries, but then forgot his birthday. And started a giant fight with him that night, because one of his female friends gave him a birthday gift. There are a million other examples, but I think you get the idea. She was controlling, jealous, selfish, a whole toxic cocktail. He broke up with her yesterday because he has self-respect, and found out she had been snapping a random guy her top. My sister and her friends were sitting in the lounge, and she was sobbing her eyes out about how he broke up with her, and all of her friends were hugging her and telling her that he's just an a-hole, he doesn't deserve her, and that she'll find someone better, and make him sorry he even left her. I told them that the only thing they had said that was true was that he didn't deserve her. Nobody deserves to be with someone like that in a relationship. I also informed them that she was the a-hole in this situation, and there's no way in hell she's going to find someone better until she gets her crap together, and stops being a toxic waste dump. My sister locked herself in her room, and now my mom is calling me, telling me that my sister is very upset that her brother would kick her while she's down, and I should apologize to her. I really think the more a-hole move is her friends blowing smoke up her behind, and not holding her accountable for her own actions. How will she stop being a horrible person if no one calls her out on her crap? Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she was toxic, right after she had gotten broken up with? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. This is how people get locked into cycles of being a horrible person, and of mistreating other people. They exist in a circle that tells them what they want to hear, instead of what they needed to hear. If your sister doesn't recognize her own toxic behaviors, she won't find a happy relationship. Honestly, your mother should be recognizing this and should not be telling you to apologize. Something tells me this is how the mom has always behaved, to excuse her daughter's behavior. Well, now she's facing the consequences of being an unmitigated a-hole, and hopefully her own brother telling her so helps. It either helps, or she goes on thinking she's the poor victim when she's the abuser, so. Not the a-hole. Your sister needed a reality check. She also seems very insecure. More emotionally manipulative and abusive than insecure, in my opinion. Not the a-hole. Her toxic behavior included emotional abuse. Her friends are enablers for trying to convince her she did nothing wrong. She's not the victim here. You called it out. Her toxic behavior included emotional mistreatment. And just straight up cheating. In no universe I'm aware of, is sending a random guy your topless shot not cheating. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for letting my son spend time with his older half-sibling against ex-wife's wishes? 5 years ago, I learned that my ex-wife of 7 years was in a relationship with a longtime boyfriend a few years before we met. They had a son together, Todd, but she walked out of his life when he was 4. I only learned this because Todd, who was 14 at the time, found her social media account and wanted to connect with her. She confessed what happened, and that she just didn't want to be a mom at the time, so she left them. I was deeply shocked by this. We had a 6-year-old son ourselves and I couldn't fathom wanting to abandon a young child. Obviously, by the time we had our boy, she was more than ready to be a mom and could have reached out to her son again. But never did. I mean, I didn't even know of his existence. Even with him wanting to see her after all these years, she still didn't want to meet, since that chapter of her life was closed, and things would be too complicated. This led to a lot of fighting, and eventually caused a huge rift between us, which ultimately led to divorce. My son is 11 now and is aware he has an older half-brother out there. My son expressed interest in wanting to know his brother, and so I managed to contact Todd. My ex was completely against this, and refused to be there when her son agreed to a meeting. I met him first, obviously without my son around, and got to know him. He's a really great kid. 19 years old, college student, very kind and genuine. He was just interested in connecting with his mom's side of the family. Since our meeting, he and my son have hung out several times. My son has really taken a liking to him despite the age gap. Guess it's the excitement of having a big brother. He's all my son talks about. A joke Todd told him, or retelling a conversation they had on FaceTime. My ex is furious, because he talks a lot about Todd when he's with her, and has told me to limit contact with him. Says if my son would like to have a relationship with Todd, he can do so when he's older and can make that decision for himself. This has caused a lot of fighting between us, which has also brought in our families. Mostly my ex-mother-in-law, telling me I have no right, and Todd is none of my business since we're not related, so I need to put a stop to it since it's upsetting my ex. Normally I wouldn't care what she thinks, but since then my parents also agree that is my ex-wife's son, he really has no business in my life, especially when it's bothering her so much. The thing is, my son loves spending time with him. They've really bonded and it seems cruel to break that up. But at the same time, everyone is acting like I'm the vile ex-husband tormenting my ex-wife for her past mistakes. Some outsider's judgment on all this would really be nice here. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. As someone who has 3 half-siblings cut out of their life because of the selfishness of the other parent, I implore you to please not listen to your wife. Your son and his brother should have contact, and should be able to grow up with one another as much as they can. I promise you, it will make all the difference when they get older. I beg you, do all in your power to keep their bond growing. I miss my siblings every day. I cry over losing them so often. The pain of knowing that you have siblings out there who want nothing to do with you, because of the interference of an angry and jealous parent, is overwhelming. OP, I am so proud of you for giving your son this opportunity, and I hope you will continue to fight for it for your son's sake. It will be hard, but know he will be happier and have a better life for your efforts, and so will his brother. Not the a-hole, in any way. I'm very sorry to hear about your half-siblings. That sounds awful. Thank you for commenting, you've given me some things to think about. Todd is not your ex-wife's son, he's your son's half-brother and they have every right to have a relationship in the present. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your son has a right to know his brother. His brother wants that too. Your ex-wife is a jerk for not facilitating that for her two sons, and for walking out on Todd in the first place. And for marrying someone without even mentioning she has a child out there. Not the a-hole. If my math adds up, Todd is now 19, correct? So, he's an adult and wants to be a good friend and mentor to his younger brother. You or your ex have no right to stop that healthy fraternal relationship from forming. Good on him for being kind to his younger bro, good on you for allowing this. Shame on your ex and others for discouraging it. Definitely not the a-hole. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for making my son earn back all of his belongings? Yes, the title is as bad as it seems. I have a 14-year-old son, Steve, that I adopted when he was a little under a year old. My son's mom, a pain in the butt that she was, sadly died during childbirth. I am the only mom Steve has ever known. He loves to throw it in my face that I'm not his real mom. That's okay, I still love him more than life itself. I do not, however, love his room. Steve absolutely refuses to clean his room. We fight about this constantly. There's trash on the floor, mold growing on half-eaten food, it straight up smells like something died in there. We have tried grounding him, talking to him, and helping him but he just doesn't care. I finally got to the point last week where I spent all of Friday cleaning it. During my cleaning process, I took everything out of his room. All he has now is his bed, his dresser, his school stuff and his clothes. When Steve got home from school, he was screaming at me that I'm not his mom, I had no right to steal his stuff. His dad backed me and took his phone for his attitude lately, and we told him he could do extra chores to earn his belongings back. My sister came over this weekend, with Steve still sulking. When she asked about it, I told her exactly what I had done. She's now angry with me, calling me a witch for treating my stepson like that. Thinking about it, I think we might have taken it a little too far, but I want to stick to my word of him having to earn everything back. Am I the a-hole? Edit, I didn't realize that the situation with Steve's mom seemed like something else. They had a one-night stand when we were on a break. We decided to work on our marriage and ended up in marriage counseling when we found out she was pregnant. We gave her as much support as we could, emotional and financial, but she was angry that my husband wouldn't leave me so they could be a happy family. Steve has always known me as his mom. While Steve using the I'm not his real mom is common, it's only when he's in trouble or not getting his way. Also, we are in family therapy, we are putting Steve in individual therapy. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, what you did sounds fair. Considering you've been in his life since before he was 1, I feel very sad that he keeps throwing "you are not my real mom" in your face. I have a hunch this might have something to do with the fact that she refers to his biological mother as a pain in the butt. Steve has never heard me say anything like that about his mom. I work hard to only say good things and share good stories of her with him. The only reason I say she was a pain in the butt is, she was constantly showing up to my work and my house to talk sense into me, and make husband leave me and date her. Not the a-hole. I'd be less sympathetic to your viewpoint if it was just typical teenage boy clutter. But there's trash on the floor, mold growing on half-eaten food, it straight up smells like something died in there. This is a freaking health hazard, and is unacceptable. Yeah, my standard for a kid's bedroom is it must be safe. As in, nothing growing, no overly bad odors, not too much dust accumulating, can safely exit the room in case of fire, etc. But let kids have messy rooms if they want. It's the only space that's really theirs, so let them decide how they want to manage it. Not the a-hole. He can't have a room reeking of death and living in filth, simply because he can't be asked to clean up after himself. Anecdotally, my middle brother had a bad habit as a teen of leaving wet towels all over the floor to turn into a science experiment. Finally, my dad had enough one day, and tipped his room in response. Every time he left a wet towel on the floor, Dad tipped his room. Nothing over the top, just unmade his bed and chucked it all on the floor, clothes as well. He had to clean it up each day after school until he got the point. Was it a petty parenting move on his part? Maybe. But it was non-aggressive and it worked. Shrug. Electronics are privileges at the end of the day. The only thing I would say is, instead of taking his phone away, Cut off his data and put parental controls on the phone, so that it can only be used for simple text and calls if there is an emergency. We live in a dangerous world and I do think he should have access to his phone for safety. There are apps and settings for this in both iOS and Android. The rest of his stuff, he can earn back by not being a pig pen. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.